So 3 stocks I'm actively looking at adding to and scaling into in my current portfolio. These 3 giants actually have massive upside potential, and 2 of them pay you a solid dividend. So if you want to know what they are, well, make sure you stick around after this. So as always, before we get into the video, I really do not like dealing with lawyers, so please don't sue me. This is not financial advice, and you should make your own due diligence when it comes to making any investment decision. If you are new here, please do subscribe and turn on the bell, and do me the kindest of kind favors by going down and making sure that like button is turned blue. If you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link down in the description. We can get some exclusive perks, including the chat room, and find out exactly what my portfolio is week by week, and even get alerts when I make a buy or a sell order. If you're not from the US or Canada, there's a pinned comment down in the comment section where you can sign up with eTORO on that link, sign up, deposit, and make one simple trade, and you get free lifetime access to the LWT investing chat room. I'm there daily, you can ask me questions there. Now when it comes to value investing, the name really is in the title. We're looking for a stock that is down on hard times, that is good value. The chart looks down, but not too down, and it's got a massive upside. But really, we want to be in a stock that's got potential to go up in the near term as well, preferably with a catalyst. If you want to know how I actually look at picking stocks, there's a video up there, you can go and check it out. But really, these 3 stocks that I'm looking at, full disclosure, I have open positions in, but I'm nowhere near full size in any of them. In fact, the way I tend to buy value investments is I buy in on the way down in very, very small portions. I already know roughly what my total allocation percentage is to that stock, and I'll just scale in every big red day. That's basically how I do it, and that way I get in as close to the bottom of the trend as I can, and hopefully the recovery happens and we, go to the moon. Now the first stock really on here is listed in the US, Lockheed Martin, ticker symbol LMT. Now I did a video recently on Lockheed Martin, and I told you why I think it is a good investment. Quite simply, Lockheed Martin is a mega giant when it comes to defense. In fact, it's one of the biggest contractors in the US. Now, if Lockheed Martin just went back to pre-pandemic levels, there's an easy 30% gain there, which definitely is not to be laughed at. But I think it can go even higher than that, and I'll tell you why in just a second. And when it comes to looking at value stocks, if it has a dividend, it just makes me feel like I can go in bigger size, because while I'm waiting for this trend to change, I can actually get paid something along the way. Now, typically these dividends are reinvested into the stock, but given the current world situation over the last 2 years, I haven't really been doing that. I've been looking for other value opportunities and diversifying as much as possible. But Lockheed Martin is very different. Their dividend, I'm actively reinvesting and looking to reinvest. In fact, one word, space. It's no secret, space is going to be the biggest industry the universe, because I can't really say the world, has ever seen. Lockheed Martin is looking to put satellites in space with missile defense systems. Sounds like Star Trek, sci-fi, Star Wars, whatever you want to call it, but that basically is what's going to happen. They're teaming up with companies like SpaceX, NASA, and it's going to happen sooner or later. Now, before we all go outside and start hugging trees, Lockheed Martin is actually looking at expanding its space division as well, so I don't think missile systems are just the end-all product here. I think that they will eventually move into other things that are space-related, but it's a good stepping stone for them is what I'm getting at. Now, as far as allocation goes, the lower the better with Lockheed Martin. I currently have about 5% allocated to the total allocation I'll put to this stock, so I really am hoping for big red days where I can start sizing into. But unfortunately, we haven't been getting too many of them. It is a slow mover, and it's a very, very slow grinder. So I'm hoping that we do get some negative news that I can size in decent size to Lockheed Martin. Moving on to stock number 2, we're going across the pond to my home country of the United Kingdom. God's country. Now, before you click dislike on the video, British Petroleum Bp is the second stock, but please bear with me there. If the world reopened and people started using oil the same way it did before, then BP's estimated growth to before pre-pandemic will be somewhere around about 80%, which is a hell of a decent gain. BP also pays a damn solid dividend of around about 7%. So while we're waiting for the world to reopen, I'm getting a 7% return paid into my account every 3 months. Okay, it's not 7% every 3 months, but 7 divided by 4. And it's not a bad thing to be in while you're waiting. But that's not the only reason I'm buying BP. BP is actually massively into renewable energies. And the UK has this whole project of being really one of the leaders in renewable energy in the world by 2030. They're investing heavily into it. BP is one of the largest providers of renewable energy in the UK, and I think that business with Bernard Looney, the head guy there, he's moving the business really into renewables. So I think that BP, when the world reopens, will have oil, but has a double catalyst that people haven't really jumped on yet in renewable energy. So I do think that BP will be a mega giant again when the world goes fully renewable. In fact, I think it could be one of the biggest renewable energy companies on planet Earth. Now, I'm actually allocated around about 50% into BP, so I have got decent size there already, and I'm hoping for big red days below that 250 level. I won't be adding higher. Hopefully a lot lower than 250 would be much better. Ideally less than £2, that'd be bloody great. Now the third stock. Honestly, it was a coin toss between a few companies here, and I went with the most controversial one, Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce is going to have some big red days coming soon. That's why I've put it on here. To be clear, it's probably the highest risk out of the three of them. In my opinion, of course, not financial advice, don't sue me. But Rolls-Royce, we're not talking about their cars, we're talking about the aerospace company. Again, I did a video on it, you can check that out there. But Rolls-Royce, I really think when the world reopens, will go back to its previous levels within a long period of time. People need to start ordering aircraft again, start ordering engines, and that's why the company is not really, doing that well. And the longer this goes on, the more Rolls-Royce is going to hurt. But if Rolls-Royce just went back to them pre-pandemic levels, which could take 5-10 years, we get a simple and easy 120% return. Not bad returns at all. Now, unfortunately, Rolls-Royce, as far as I'm aware, does not pay a dividend. So, yeah, it's a bit more of a risky stock, I'm not going to lie. But the catalyst, space. Rolls-Royce is moving into space. They've partnered up with the UK Space Agency to talk and discuss and ideally build nuclear power in space. Massive, absolutely massive. We've all grew up on power stations like Lost in Space, sci-fi movies where they use nuclear power. Rolls-Royce are moving into that industry, and again, I think space stocks are going to be the net. EVs over the last couple of years have been a big hype. Before that, it was weed. Before that, it was crypto. I think space stocks are going to be the next big thing, maybe even this year. And I think Rolls-Royce is going to be one of them because they have space news, legitimate space news. Now, in full transparency, I'm around about 10% allocated to Rolls-Royce, but I do think there is mega downside potential in this stock. So I'm being very, very cautious with my entries. I'm actually looking to get entries below my initial entry that I'm at currently, if that makes sense. So I want to be red on the trade when I add into it, not green. That should sound a little bit easier to follow. Now, all in all, I do think Rolls-Royce has a huge future, and I don't think it's got any issues of going bankrupt anytime soon. The same with the other two mentioned companies as well. So I think they are relatively low-risk companies if we're looking at a 10-year period. Now, that might be too long for some of the apes watching here who all went long GameStop, but really when it comes to investing, you should be looking at long-term. I'm sure we've all heard the expression, give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day, teach him to fish, you'll feed him forever. And that's the same with investing. You should all be looking at long-term projects and long-term investments and having a small part of your portfolio, which is more, hyper-spectacle into stocks that are like, I don't know, SPAC stocks or something like that. And we can talk about SPAC stocks later in a video. If you want to know more on SPACs, let me know down in the comments. But I think a small part of your portfolio should be higher risk and the rest should be really value or big dividend payers. But what I'd like to know from you is, what do you think is the best value stock on the market right now? Drop that down in the comments. If you don't know what to comment or you don't know any value stocks, just drop down the code word or do both. The code word for this is SPACE. Please double, triple, and quadruple check that like button is turned blue. It is very much appreciated. Subscribe, turn the bell if you haven't done so already. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.